Candidates, like last night, thank you again for your willingness to participate. The goal is to help voters in Minnow County make informed decisions when they go to cast their ballots, and this is going to help get them in that right direction. We're going to start with Minnow County Sheriff and Ryan Funke. I'll go ahead and read Ryan's bio and ask you the follow-up question. Ryan Funke is 43 years old and was born and raised in Polson, Montana. He's been a Montana resident his entire life. He graduated from Polson High School in 1997. He worked as a sales associate and department manager for Walmart for 5 years before deciding to further his passion for golf. He attended the Professional Golfers Career College in Temecula, California, continuing to work at Walmart full-time while attending college. He graduated in 2003 with an associate's degree in golf course management. Ryan started his law enforcement career in 2008 as a deputy for Lake County Sheriff's Office. He graduated from Montana Law Enforcement Academy in 2009. He continued to receive law enforcement training throughout his tenure with the Lake County Sheriff's Office. Ryan learned the true importance of teamwork. As a result, earned several life-saving and community awards. He worked for Lake County Sheriff's Office until 2017. Ryan and his family have been coming to Minnow County for over 25 years to recreate. When he and his wife decided to start their own family, they wanted to be a small community. Naturally, they looked to Minnow County. Ryan was hired by Minnow County Sheriff's Office in February of 2018. After buying a piece of land and several months of building, they finally had their forever home on the St. Regis River. He was promoted to sergeant of the Minnow County Sheriff's Office approximately a year ago. Ryan is also deputy coroner, field training officer, and search and rescue liaison. He continues to be a patrol deputy as well. Community involvement has always been important to Ryan, so in his spare time he assists with coaching the St. Regis girls basketball team and the St. Regis Tigers golf team. He loves cheering at the local high school games and continues his golf passion by participating in the men's league. Ryan, could you please take up to 4 minutes and share any additional professional information? Yeah, you can come up here if you'd like.
Everybody hear me? Yeah. All right, I get to go first again tonight. First isn't always bad. So I want to appreciate everybody, say thank you for coming. Happy Cinco de Mayo. My family wasn't able to be here tonight, so they also say thank you. I'm going to do little things different than I did last night. We spoke last night in Superior, and I don't want to talk about the same thing over and over and over and over. So, my professional background, I'm going to start, of course, my father. My father was a city councilman for 25 years in the city of Polson. I grew up with him. I watched his leadership skills. I watched how people flocked to him, how people came to him for questions, for answers, and the knowledge that he had. Previous to that, my grandfather was a city councilman for 25 years also in Polson, and also the mayor of Polson. So I'm going to go back and say, my professional background's in my past. I was born with it. I do have, at the end of this year, 14 years of law enforcement. In that 14 years, I've worked patrol. I've been a sergeant here. Like you said, I'm a coroner. I'm the field training officer. I do all the scheduling. I'm a search and rescue liaison. The biggest thing about my professional background is when I've hired people in the past, when I hire people in the future, I'm going to hire people that are going to help me be successful. Tom Brady didn't win the Super Bowl by himself, guys. He built a team around him. He built a team, he built a dynasty, and he's won multiple Super Bowls. I mean, you can't beat that. I'm a Joe Montana guy. But being a leader in your leadership role is to build a team around you to be successful, not to have to micromanage your people. Let them go out and do their job proficiently so you have time to go do other stuff. And that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm looking at multiple undersheriffs that have, run $14 million budgets. I mean, I got budgeted to death last night, so I'm going to bring up more stuff, of course. So with that in mind, I'll just run through a few other things. I've been a field training officer since 2011 in Lake County. So I was hired for approximately 2 years. I was promoted to go to field training because they felt that I needed to be training the up-and-coming deputies. So I began to train them. I trained them to be community-oriented police, right? So I've been out in the community. I've seen a lot of your guys' faces, been to a lot of games. Like they said, I get involved in the community. So kind of scared me. All right. So community-based policing, that's my leadership style, and that's what I want my deputies to be. I have my basic certificate, my intermediate certificate, and I'm applying for my advanced certificate with the Montana Law Enforcement Academy. I've gone through DRE training in Arizona. I was promoted by the Highway Patrol to go to that training. That's drug recognition expert. It's hundreds of hours, and I've completed that class down in Phoenix, Arizona. Thank you.
Okay. Now we have Gretchen Webb, and I'll go ahead and read her bio. Gretchen Webb moved to Superior in 2015 after 32 years in law enforcement, retired as a captain from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office in Florida. She was born in Michigan in 1970 and moved to Florida with her family. During high school, Gretchen became an accomplished tennis player and started her first law enforcement job as a part-time dispatcher. She went on to Indian River Community College on a tennis scholarship and continued to work part-time at the Stewart Police Department. Receiving her AA, Gretchen went on to Florida State University and continued her education. While tennis went by the wayside, rugby took its place. Gretchen never wavered in her love of law enforcement. She received her bachelor's degree in criminology, specializing in criminal law. Gretchen moved to Palm Beach County, Florida, where she became a certified law enforcement officer. She held various assignments in the areas of organized crime, racketeering, narcotics investigation, tactical operation, field training, internal affairs, and more. As she was gaining experience and moving up in the ranks, then Sergeant Webb rewrote the field training program. This program became the nationally recognized model for other field training programs to follow. Never wanting to stop growing in knowledge, Gretchen took additional advanced classes and became an instructor at the police academy in multiple disciplines, including general law and high liability. For additional management training, Gretchen was sent to the University of Louisville Southern Police Institute. It was an administrative officer's course. From her first promotion to sergeant, then lieutenant, and finally captain, Gretchen has been responsible for writing and managing budgets for each command assignment. Supervise sworn and civilian personnel, manage and engage in tactical situations, and conduct major investigations. Upon her retirement, she continued to work as an instructor at the police academy for an additional 2 years. Now, Gretchen is bringing her experience, knowledge, and skills to Mineral County. Please welcome Gretchen. Gretchen, would you take up to 4 minutes to share any additional information?
Well, I'm glad to see everyone's here tonight. A lot of faces I haven't seen in a while, and I'm happy to see them. I did spend 32 years in law enforcement, and I never thought I'd be a political candidate. That's bottom line. I don't know how many of you know how I was doing this campaign where I had to go for signatures in order to be placed on the ballot. I'm happy to say the elections office has permitted me to be on the ballot come November. I'm officially a candidate through the elections office, which is fantastic. You will not see me on the June primaries, but you'll see me against either Ryan Funke or Wayne Cashman in the general election. So that aside, I'm gonna go back into my little thing. I was a road patrol deputy and a field training officer, and I worked organized crime, racketeering, did multiple large investigations. When I got promoted to sergeant, they put me in charge of the field training program. And where that's really important is that field training program was suffering, and it's high liability because you're training someone else, and I'm sure Ryan can tell you how much liability goes along with that. Our program was horrible. I saw the deficiencies in it, and at that time the agencies were being sued for deliberate indifference. So I took it upon myself to rewrite the field training program, and I gave it to my bosses. They weren't happy about it, I'll admit that, because I was having them do something they didn't want to do. Rewriting that field training program became nationally recognized. It became the model for all other field training programs today. No, I have not seen the one here in Mineral County, but if it's close, it's a similar model to the one I rewrote. And I am planning on rewriting this one, along with teaching people how to investigate, to recognize crimes, to ask the right questions. That's not happening right now. You have to know how to be curious. And that's really what an investigation is curiosity. You have to be able to put it down to paper. Where we're lacking is putting it down to paper almost immediately. We need to be able to specify what's happened, why it's happened, and who done it. And we're not good at it. That being said, law enforcement's really not good at the whodunit part. We try, but we need your help. We will always need the community's help. I've done community. 1 minute? Should I dance now? No. All right. I've worked for the special response team. I've been a lead negotiator during hostage situations. I've won a few and lost a few during the negotiation period. Lost too many, actually, but I've done very well at being a negotiator. Dignitary protection. I did dignitary protection for Bush 1 and 2, Trump and Reagan. It's very easy to do that stuff if you are trained properly. I have the training background. I'm planning on bringing it to our people at Mineral County Sheriff's Office. And I'm going to send all my certificates off to Post Helena and get them recognized here in Montana. Thank you.
We'll stay with you for the first question, okay?
I'm going where, huh? What, huh?
We're going to go ahead and snake back and forth to expedite going through the questions. So we'll stay with Gretchen for the first. What are the primary reasons you are running for this position?
4 minutes. All right, when I moved to Mineral County in 2015, I've watched the county struggle through many sheriffs, and I believe I've seen 4 sheriffs. That's 4 too many since that time. I've seen the jail go up and down. I've seen officers not quite do the investigations properly. All this stuff, it's come down to a very, I'm looking for the right word here, but it's a situation that can be improved upon. I have the ability, I've got the talent, and thank you, Palm Beach County, for giving me this talent to be able to bring it here to Mineral County. It will reduce the impact on Mineral County and their budget. I also feel like with my leadership ability, I'll be able to help direct these new deputies in a positive direction. I do not want to see anything negative with the deputies, the department, and I believe by setting the example and showing them what you can become and helping them learn how good they can become, this agency will improve. I'm going to make a realistic budget. Our budget here Every budget, every sheriff's office is going to, complain poor mouth. That's just reality. So I will present the budget in a realistic fashion to our commissioners. And then if I don't like what they say, I'll go to the people and ask them to scream and shout at the commissioners and give me more money. The other thing I'm planning on doing is going to visit people up in Helena, people as in the representatives, to help fund us. We need funding, and that's the only place our money can come from. Now, if I'm able to get money not just for the sheriff's office, for Mineral County, I will be happy to do that. That will be my aim, so that we are able to improve all our programs here, our community policing, our field training program, our investigations, to be able to send our deputies off for training. We also need to retrain or retain our deputies. We're losing them too fast. Cost $100,000 a year to keep it, or from beginning to the end of the first year, to keep a deputy in a position. Now that includes the car, the equipment, the clothing, everything that goes with that deputy from head to toe. And I don't know about you guys, but I hate wasting money and have them leave 2 years later, because now we're investing another $100,000.
1 minute.
All right. So what I'm doing here is I'm giving you my experience. I'm giving Mineral County my experience, and it's going to be more cost effective than trial and error, and that's what we've been doing up until this point. Thank you.
All right, Ryan, your turn.
Okay. How's it going? At least I didn't have to go first that time. So, I'm going to take this to 4 minutes, by golly. What are the primary reasons I'm running for this position? Ultimately, I believe leadership is lead by example. I'm going to be a working sheriff. My undersheriff's going to be a working undersheriff. This county can't afford any more deputies. When I first got hired here, there was 4 of us. We had a sheriff and an undersheriff who didn't work. It was very officer safety. It was a nightmare. I mean, you can ask deputies from the past, you can ask highway patrol, you can ask fish and game. It was nightmarish for us. It was unsafe. But lead by example. I will never ask my guys or gals to do anything that I wouldn't be willing to do, because that's just who I am. Lead by example. And another reason is backing and encouragement from the community. I'm not going to specifically speak about the one from last night because she's here, and I teared up last night. I won't lie about it. But the kind words that I've received about who I am, what I've brought here, what I've brought to the kids from the schools, how the kids in the schools look at me, they come up and they call me Funk, right? Growing up, I was Funky R. So that makes me feel good that the kids weren't comfortable with the cops. The kids were running from the cops when I came here. Now the kids run to me. They run to me, they say hi to me, they say a lot to me. If they're having problems at home, they even tell me what's happening at home. So I think that's a big thing, is we need the kids in our communities to trust our cops, and they trust me. We also need to bring stability. I'm 43 years old, as stated. Most people think I'm 35, and I thank you for that. But I'm going to be a multi-term sheriff. You know, minimum 2 terms, 3 terms, 4 terms. Sky's the limit for me. This is my community. It was previously stated, I bought property almost immediately after I was employed here, built my forever home. I'm going to die here. This is my community. I'm going to go back to the budget thing. I've heard a lot about budgets. By a raise of hands, anybody looked at the Mineral County Sheriff's Office budget recently? There's a few hands. Okay, so it's very concerning to me, a couple things. And I'm not going to beat a dead horse to death, but in a commissioner meeting on January 14, 2022, Jessica Conley, the finance lady for the county, brought up the fact that we are $100,000 in the hole on our cops grant, in the negative. I believe she told the commissioners that we need to pull this position because we're so far in the hole. Also, the Stone Garden grant, negative $47,000. I mean, that was in January, guys. I mean, that's where our budget is at right now. Wayne spoke about the jail making $25,000 last month. That's great. I mean, we're getting money back into the community. However, not at the expense of the safety of our community. We have turned away inmate after inmate after inmate after inmate after inmate because we don't have room or the jail's full. That's not providing safety for our community. And I'm going to provide safety, and I'm going to provide an equal. Yeah, it's nice to bring in money, but there's got to be equality. Safety is my thing. Safety is my first priority for this county. Thank you.
Well, Ryan, you are first this time. So. We're going to go back the other way. You said a little bit in your bio. Can you explain a little bit more what local organizations or community involvement you participate in, and what national memberships do you have?
No national memberships. We'll start that. So organizations, community involvement. Kind of got to speak fast because I ran out of time yesterday. I've been a member of the Trust Creeks Men's Golf League here in beautiful St. Regis for the last 4 years. With that is I've met a lot of people in the community. I talked to those people. I stay afterwards and talk with those people. I learn a lot about the community and what's going on. Being approachable is a large thing for a law enforcement officer. If I'm not approachable, people don't come to me. If I'm approachable and I'm on common ground with people, they come and talk to me. They tell me a lot of things. People come to my house. So that's what being in the community, being in golf leagues, so on and so forth, that bring to the cops, bring to the agency. I'm an assistant golf coach with the St. Regis Tigers, and also assistant basketball coach, thanks to Tyler Cheeseman. I jumped at it. I was asked if I could do it, and I did it. It benefits. If it benefits anybody, I'm willing to do it, guys. I took a couple nights out of my week. I got beat up. I'm not even going to lie about it. But it benefits the school. It benefits the community. It benefits the kids. Like, the kids know me. The kids can walk up to me. You build a relationship, with these people in your community. I assisted with multiple junior golf camps. That was on my dime. I didn't take any money for putting on junior golf camps. That helped all the junior golfers in Mineral County. I've helped raise over $10,000 for Mineral County Search and Rescue. We didn't have anything. We didn't have money. We had broke down things. If somebody was new to this county and they said, "Hey, Search and Rescue's here," and they'd be like, "Where are they at?" I'm bringing professionalism to Search and Rescue. We're going to look like a team. We're united as a team. We're going to look very professional at what we do. I coordinated Christmas gifts in 2019 with the St. Regis Volunteer Fire Department for the needy people of St. Regis, and that was just with me and my community members. I see one. Fred Sego is one of my neighbors who also assisted with that. I spent a day splitting and stacking firewood for a community member who had lost her husband, and it was going into wintertime. She didn't have firewood. I took a day off. I went and did it. I didn't ask for anything. I think I had a soda. But it's being there for your community when they're in need, on duty, off duty. I'm here for them. I'm not going to put them on the point. Yeah, on the spot. One of my neighbors lost his greenhouse. I put him on the spot. And my wife and I and my kid went over and we spent a couple days helping him. That's just who I am, guys. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help my community and be involved in my community. I'm going to give you a quick thing. A couple years ago, we received a 911 call from a lady and her husband who were lost up on the state line. Somebody gave them the wrong directions. They were stuck in a snowdrift. She had very little oxygen. She needed oxygen 100% of the time. I took my own vehicle, my own side-by-side, a search and rescue member, and spent 6 hours of my own time in the pouring rain saving that lady. I didn't have to, but I did it because that's who I am. I am ingrained in this community. This is my community. As my signs say, I'm the people's sheriff, and that is true 100%. Thank you.
You don't have to read it again. Okay. All right.
You pass the mic, please.
Oh, pass the mic before.
Oh, that one, thank you.
You didn't have it the last time for Wayne, did you? No? Of the places that I've volunteered around here, I've helped out here at the senior center doing dishes. I'm pretty good at that. I do it as Hazel asked me to, and and I will. You know, I also, if you need help, I'll help out my neighbors. That's just who I am. I help out Jackie at Jackie's Flowers deliver Valentine's Week and this week. So I'm sorry if I'm not as prepared as I should be, because I'm out there bringing you flowers. And so today was a long day too. And my neighbors, I can't speak enough of my neighbors. I don't know if they help me out more, if I help them out more. I think I mentioned, no I didn't, the helpline, the Fall Bazaar, I help set up, take down. I also help assist at the helpline whenever they need a person for safety. If they're going out at night, they'll give me a call and I'll go with them. The national organizations I belong to, I don't get to do much of this, but it's PADI, the Professional Association of Diving Instructors. As you can see, there's a theme here. I do a lot of instructing. And yes, I did reach the level of a dive instructor. International Association of Women Police, I'm a lifetime member of them. No, I will not charge Mineral County to go to their annual meetings, unless of course it's over in England or one of those places. I just think the commissioners will say no to me on that. USCCA, that's the United States Concealed Carry Association, so that should tell you where I fall on the Second Amendment. And the best one, AAA. And I think everyone who drives a car should belong to something like that. As far as anything else, as far as a formal volunteer, no, I go and I help out if someone needs help. And it doesn't matter if I'm setting up tables or whatever. I will do whatever I can for people. Do I get the next?
So this is the last one of the written questions. What are the most important problems that you see in this office, and how do you plan on solving them?
The most important problems in this office of sheriff is the management. The sheriff has got to be a manager. They've got to be someone who can budget, someone who can say no and someone who can say yes when it's necessary, someone who can do research, and who will go out there and campaign for Mineral County to get funds. The sheriff is just not a law enforcement officer. They are there to make Mineral County and the office and of sheriff better and give the deputies what they need. Right now, we do not have that. Excuse me. We need to, as I mentioned before, retain deputies, and we need to hire qualified deputies. Training. My instructor certificates, I will address, send them to Post Police Officer Standards and Training up in Helena, and most of them should come back as making me an instructor under Montana's criteria. I'm not going to say all because I haven't submitted them yet. My certificate as a law enforcement officer will also be submitted, and I will have to take a 2-week course to be post-certified. I will also have to take a course as far as a coroner. That one area I feel is very important. I have dealt with many instances of dead bodies My past has allowed me to do many investigations, from a natural death to a homicide to unknowns. You need experience as an investigator. That experience I have, but that experience, most importantly, I'm going to share with the deputies and teach them how to investigate. I don't need to respond to all the calls. They need to respond to it and do it properly. However, I will follow them initially, just to see where their strengths and weaknesses are. I'm not going to do it all the time. I need to know where their weaknesses are so I can teach them how to do better. That's the most important thing. Report writing is atrocious. It needs to be improved. It needs to go to a true format so that we're able to present a good case to the county attorney. We cannot just do half investigations. We've got to collect our evidence. We've got to do it properly so it's legally defendable. If I'm going to arrest you and ruin your life because that's what I'm doing, I better do it right. And we're not doing that right now. So all these things need to be taught and trained. I'm not expecting to do it all the way. I expect my deputies to do it. And once I show them how to do it, I expect them to do it right. It's a simple formula. Thank you very much.
Ryan, what do you see as the most important problems in this office, and how do you plan on solving them?
I think, as I stated before, leadership, lead by example. As a working sheriff and under sheriff, that trust the people. There you go. Sorry. That trust the people, trust that they know how to do their job and they know how to do their job proficiently. If somebody doesn't get told they're not doing their job proficiently, wouldn't you assume you're doing your job proficiently? Okay. I've never been told that I don't do my job proficiently. I've never been told that I write crappy reports per se. So leadership, lead by example, and I think that just goes down the road. If I'm willing to do anything for my guys, they know that, and they'll work harder. A good job, I think getting in an employee of the quarter, deputy of the year, so you can show some recognition for a job well done, I think goes a long ways and makes people want to work harder for you. Employee retention is a big thing. I'm the most senior person inside the whole entire sheriff's office, and I've been here for 4.5 years. That's sad. That's sad. But that goes from leadership. That goes from wages. When I got hired here, I think it was like a week or two after I got hired here, I got offered a job for $10 more an hour in Missoula County. I stayed here. This is my home. You guys are my people. Like, I am one of you. That's the way it is. I'm not going to take $10 more an hour. I wasn't afforded an opportunity here, and I'm here. I'm here for the right reason. I'm here for you guys. Gretchen said that, losing somebody costs around $100,000. I can only imagine 6 to 10 people have left since I've been here. I mean, that's astronomical. But once again, I think that goes towards leadership. Training. I would love all the training in the world. But when you're a bare bone department, going to sometimes 20 calls a day in a 12-hour period, I would like to know where we're going to go to training. Unless we have people to cover shifts, unless we have the support staff that wants to come and help cover shifts, in-house training is about as good as we get. So until we get a full staff, people willing to cover shifts for deputies, so we can go to training, that's when we'll get our training. And if elected, I'm going to put Gretchen on the spot, I would appoint her as a reserve deputy to help us do this in-house training. Do training a month. Every month, have in-house training. I haven't talked to her in depth, but I hope to. We just met yesterday, so hopefully we're on good standing terms. So we all need training. I don't dispute that. However, I've received less than 60 hours of training in 4.5 years since I've been here. Whether that be budgets, whether that be, not having enough people to staff. It's a giant nightmare for us. Equal treatment and equality amongst staff. You got to treat one as you treat the other, and not show favoritism. I work 40 to 50 hours a week also. I have a family. I'm in the community, guys. I make time for you because you matter. Thank you.
We are next going to do 2 questions for the sheriff's candidates. You'll each get 2 minutes to answer these. We'll go ahead and we'll start with Ryan and go to Gretchen. How have you supported other agencies, including Highway Patrol, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, local fire, and EMS?
Only 2 minutes. So the biggest thing is we're a small community. We work with a lot of agencies. I work very well with every one of them. If you guys don't know, we're ex officio game wardens, so Alex loves me. When he's not out, we can do fishing game. And that gets us personal contacts. That gets us out talking with the community. That gets my trainees talking with the community. So when I came here, I don't think agency to agency like mesh. I made it mesh. I went to the department heads. I've become very good friends with Sergeant Sean Smalley with the Montana Highway Patrol and most of the patrol guys. That's my job. I need to be able to offer my support and get their support in the same. If I call for backup, they're there at the snap of a finger. Recently, I think it's gotten a little, out of control per se, as far as the way the sheriff's office has treated highway patrol. We were in the same office. We've disbanded that. They have their own office. And we've been called off pursuits. With the Wade Palmer incident several years ago, myself and I'm gonna throw AJ Allard out there. We were working in Mineral County. We knew that Wade Palmer was out with the guy who possibly just killed people in Missoula. AJ and I drove towards Alberton because we didn't know what was going to happen. We heard that he wasn't answering the radio. Without any hesitation, we ran to that man on the top of Evero Hill, not in Mineral County, but to give him help and to show people we're here, like we're brothers. And that's what it means to me. Thank you.
Gretchen, will you support other agencies, including Highway Patrol, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, local fire, and EMS?
I believe that we should be working with all those different agencies. We also need to bring in the DEA. We do have a narcotics problem here, and quite frankly, local people are too known. So they need to come in. We need to also make sure that when we do our investigations, if it's bigger than Mineral County, we do have to go to DCI and have them come in and do the investigation, especially for evidence collection. That's crucial. We also need to improve, no matter what, we need to improve our standing with other agencies. Right now, we are not looked upon as being that credible. We need to improve our reputation by doing the right thing for them and with them, and show them we're better trained and we're better qualified than they are. And we will do that.
Last question for the sheriff's candidates. Ryan, we're back to you. As sheriff, how would you ensure that deputies are responding effectively to domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking to create safety for victims and hold offenders accountable?
It's the same question from the last night.
It sounds like it, yes.
Leadership, hiring people that are able to do the job and are qualified to do the job. That's the biggest thing, and like I said, it comes from leadership. If leadership fails, it fails all the way down the line. You got to create a team. You got to create professionals around you that make you look better, if you have professionals, if you have quality trained people, if you have people willing to run through that wall, if somebody's shooting on the other side of it to save your butt, those are the people I want. I want the people that are here to protect the community, whether any crime, you know, whether it be domestic or anything. We need to be here for our community. We need to be here to save you guys if you need saving. We need to be here to be a shoulder for you to cry on if you lose a loved one. I'm a coroner, and that's the biggest thing. Trying to do a death notification, you have to be able to treat this grieving person who's like some of the worst time of their life. They've lost somebody. You need to be there for that person, be able to talk to that person, be able to get somebody there to help that person. And that's what this job's about, right? This job's about helping the people in our community, whether it's good or bad. We're here for you either way. Thank you.
Thank you, Wade.
Domestic violence, sexual assault, what else?
Or stalking. To create safety for victims and hold offenders accountable.
Domestic assault and sexual assault are very similar in the way that you investigate. Right now, we do not have the tools to do a proper investigation. Just because I beat up on my husband, Denley here, doesn't mean that he goes to jail because he's the male. I've got to listen to the victim. I've got to listen to the person who I believe might be the suspect. And you know what? You got to do that by listening to the people at the scene. You just don't go in there assuming that the male or the female is the guilty party. So it has to be a fair and impartial investigation. We do not have the tools to do a proper sexual assault investigation here, period. We need to get those tools here. We need to teach our deputies how to handle a sexual assault victim, how to handle a stalking victim. Just because a person is calm and passive as a victim does not mean that this crime has not happened. When I get scared, I get deadpan. And stay out of my way, by the way. I become so deadpan and matter of fact, and that's what you're going to hear on the radio, in my voice. Here, I'm more nervous than when I go into a tactical situation. So you guys have really messed me up here. I actually believe that we need to focus more on teaching our deputies to recognize the signs of sexual assault, because the female is not always going to come forth. The domestic violence, the male is not always going to come forth. And stalking, that's the same thing. I'm sorry, I only have a couple seconds left, 15 seconds. Yes, remember, we need to learn how to investigate, and I have the tools to help them do it.
Thank you. With that concludes all the questions that we're going to ask tonight. I thank everybody. I thank the candidates for participating. I thank the participants out in the audience. And on behalf of my family and other residents, thank you for being informed.